So a little bit of help for the current learning check on linear regression. So if you go to the module that we are currently in Canvas, it's bivariate linear regression. And you'll notice for Learning Check 10 that there are a number of documents that go with Learning Check. So go ahead and download the data set, the code book, and then the paper. And if we look in Learning Check 10, it's going to tell you to complete the following analyses using this homeless women study subset. And be careful to match the variable names in question with the codebook. So as with every learning check, start with your data. And if you look at this data set, it's very long. It's got 861 rows and 119 columns. So it's a very large data set. So it may be beneficial to start with the codebook. And you can see that not all 119 variables are given in the codebook. So you may not need all 119. Let's go ahead and look at the learning check, and you can see that we start to, in these questions, see that we need this rev MHI, we need age, and be careful again to match age with the correct age variable. There's more than one age variable, and we'll look at that in a moment. And then it goes through, and you see questions about the scatter plot. Do we have evidence of a relationship? Our next variable is physical functioning, or number of limitations. Then the next variable we're asked about is social frequency of social contact. And the next variable we're asked about is race. So for this particular learning check, the only variables that we need are age of the participant at the time of the interview. We need the number of physical limitations. So that's this, number of physical limitations. We need the rev MHI, or the mental health inventory. We need the frequency of social contact. And we need the race variable. So just to double check again, we want to make sure that we have race and mental distress, race and mental distress, physical functioning, so that's the number of limitations on physical function, frequency of social contact, physical functioning, age, and mental health distress. So these are the only variables that we need. So you may be better off limiting your data set solely to those variables. Now you can search through all 119 to find them, or you can, in this little right arrow here, ask to reorder the columns by name. And so JUMP will then put them in alphabetical order. So I can find that I need age, click on age, scroll down to rev MHI, hold the command key and click on that. You can now see I have two columns selected. We want to find physical function, which is here. Again, hold the command key, click on physical function. We want social frequency. So go down here, social frequency, hold the command key, click on that. And then I need the race variable. Command key and click on that. So I now have these 5 variables selected that I need for this particular learning check. So go to tables and go to subset and click on selected columns. That's really, really important to click on selected columns. Otherwise it'll bring them all with you. And so now I'm just going to press OK, and it's going to bring me up a much easier to deal with data set. So I'm now going to save this as my BST 601 LC10 data, and then save that in your appropriate folder location. So now that you have your smaller data set ready to go, you can proceed through the questions. So examine a scatter plot of the age with mental distress, and which of the following statements about the scatter plot is the most accurate. So again, we go into our fit y by x, and in this case we do age, and we have our mental health indicator. And then based upon this image, answer the question. So then you'll go through the remainder of these questions and you'll fit the line and you'll find your numbers and then you'll make a decision. And it will ask for a prediction, which you get from the line, and then it will ask for you to look at additional values. So mental distress score with limitations on physical function. What does the summary statement look like? And then bring it all together in a paragraph. So by this point, you should be accustomed to writing a paragraph that indicates what the question is, how you've answered it, what is your decision, and what does that mean? Also including supporting summary statistics. And in this case, that would include the direction and strength of the relationship with the beta or the slope and the p-value. Always remember your n, and then which population you're referring to so that when you make inference or generalize back to the standard population, people know what population that is. If we go to question 10, we look at race as a predictor of mental health distress among homeless women, provide evidence to support your conclusion. We'll see here that race is coded, and so we need to, in our data set, recode race. And then we can go into analyze fit model and use race category as our X and mental health as our Y. And you'll see here we're getting a standard least squares and press run. JUMP will give you the means that you've seen before under an ANOVA, but it will also give you the parameter estimates here. And you can see that currently this is situated at African Americans compared to whites and others compared to whites. And we know that this is the case because there is no white category listed here. You can change this in JUMP. You can change it to be any order that you want. And to do that, go into the columns and column information, and under column properties, go to value ordering. And you'll see here that JUMP brings this in alphabetical order. So white starts with a W, it's the lowest end of the alphabet. So that's how JUMP chooses the comparator category. If, however, you wanted to compare everything to other, you could move it down and press OK. And then I can go back into my fit model and I can put race category here and mental health there and run. And you'll see here now, if we compare the two outputs, that we now have the race of categories of African American white, and these are being compared to other. So to be clear here, go ahead and use fit model to look at the race as categorical versus the continuous outcome of mental health and answer the question in that manner. And then you can get the means by race and then make a conclusion about race. Please let me know if you have any additional questions about how to utilize this data.